Hello, I'm Monica Garcia of the LAUSD Board of Education. Welcome to Families Matter. Joining me today is our superstar, Michelle King, Senior Deputy Superintendent of School Operations. Our goal is to provide information so families can help their children graduate and stay safe in school. Today's topic will focus on creating a successful school climate for students and how that makes for a safe and healthy environment that increases student achievement and overall well-being. But first, a chance for us to talk about the latest regarding the LAUSD and families. Welcome, Ms. King. How are you?
I'm great. Happy to be here. How are you?
I'm doing great. I love to talk about student achievement and how everything we do should help students do better.
Yes.
So what activities do we have going on now?
Well, we have an exciting activity coming up regarding a 5K run walk. We're calling it our Move It campaign. And what we're doing is we're asking folks to come out and walk with us to raise money for our wellness centers, of which we have 12. And our motto is, you start with a healthy body, which leads to a healthy mind. And so we want to ensure that our families understand the importance of eating right and just moving every day, exercising. So we're going to kick it off at Dodger Stadium and inviting the community out to move it with us.
Beautiful. So we'll have thousands of students leading us.
That's right. We also have a little 1K for our youngest kids, and they will participate as well. So our little pre-Ks and kindergartners, they're signed up as well, because we're going to start off early with them understanding the importance of exercises and eating healthy.
How fun. And you get to do it with the Dodgers at Dodger Stadium.
And we get
so
to do
we
it
want
with the Dodgers.
everyone to move it.
Everyone to move it.
On a regular basis.
Yes.
So the other thing we want folks to do is we really want folks to return this form to us.
Yes.
Right?
That's correct.
Tell us about this form a little bit.
So the form is called Household Income Form, and some of our families have received this form, and it's already pre-populated with their child's name. And because our state is using a different method to provide funding to schools, we are required now for families to submit this income form. And it's very important that every single family that receives it submits it, because it has a direct bearing on the amount of money we receive as a district to support our students in the classroom.
So we've had a lot of parents involved in understanding budgets, understanding cuts, understanding Prop 30, and now we need them to know that if we sent you a form about your household income, we need that back before December 6th.
Correct. So Friday, December 6th, we need all families to submit their forms. Every form counts and makes a difference to dollars received in LAUSD to go directly to the classrooms. I also want to say it's a 100% confidential. So all of the information that families put on the form will remain confidential.
And if I got a form and if I have questions, who would I go ask?
So you can call your school directly and they will be able to assist you, and the form should be returned directly back to your school site.
So really important for all our parents to get it. If you got a form, we need it back, because it means California is going to invest in LA Unified.
That's correct.
Okay,
each form counts for money for schools.
I always say 100% graduation. I'm going to start saying 100% forms back.
100% household income forms.
That's what we need. We need your forms back, and we'll be right back to discuss what's going on in LAUSD and what we're doing to create a successful school climate that benefits all.
High School, we're having what's called our Educational Justice Week edutainment event. So we actually have a resource fair going on. We have tours of the Wellness Center so that students can see all the services that are provided to them. And we also came up with a policy report that takes a look at all the services and what students think about the Wellness Center, what they think should be included.
Today we saw a lot of booths about preventing pregnancy, STDs, and mental health care. And I think it's pretty awesome.
We're really excited as Bienvenidos to be able to provide these students with the services of healthcare, primary care, mental health, reproductive health services. We realize that if children are healthy, they're going to perform better in school, they're going to be able to succeed later in life, and so this is the foundation really of their health for the future and in their adult lives.
We recognize that students aren't going to be effective learners unless they're healthy. And that is so critical in our community, that young people have access to healthcare services that are quality, that are affordable, so that when they go into the classroom, they're ready to learn, they're ready to excel, and they're prepared for success.
Hi, I'm Dr. Espinoza.
I'm Dr. Solomon, a member of SEIU, and we have some exciting news.
This is really fantastic.
Big things are happening.
On October 1st,
New lower-cost healthcare plans will become available on the health insurance marketplace, thanks to the Affordable Care Act.
if you've been trying to buy health insurance on your own and have been unable to afford it,
Found it difficult to compare plans,
or if you couldn't get covered because of a pre-existing condition,
then this is great news for you.
the marketplace means group buying power.
And insurance companies need to compete to earn your business.
Just fill out one application and you can shop for the right plan for you and your family online,
Compare plans and what they cost.
find out if you're eligible for financial assistance that can help save you money,
Insurance plans in the marketplace must offer coverage for
regular checkups, hospital care,
maternity and newborn care,
prescriptions,
and for your kids, trips to the dentist and the eye doctor. You can sign up online, over the phone.
or through the mail.
No plan can turn you away or charge you more because you have a medical condition.
Plans can't charge women more than men for the same health insurance coverage. So fill out the application,
Visit the online marketplace.
pick your plan, and come and see me.
You can sign up starting October 1st, 2013. Coverage starts as soon as January 1st of 2014.
To learn more, go to healthcare.gov. Ask questions, get answers, get covered.
Welcome back to Families Matter. Joining us now to discuss the importance of creating successful school climates for students and staff are Steven Zipperman, Chief of Police of the Los Angeles School Police Department, Macy Chin, Executive Director of Cadre, and Henry Perez, Associate Director of Inner City Struggle. Welcome, friends. So all of you are like dedicated public servants that just commit yourself to children every day. And I want to say thank you for that, first of all, and thank you for being with us. Ms. King, you lead this whole safety conversation. What do folks need to know about what we're trying to do at LAUSD?
I think what we want to communicate is that safety of our students, staff, employees is our number one priority in LA Unified School District. And like no other district, we have been on the move to ensure that we create safe environments on our campuses. And I think that's evidenced by the work of the Board of Education and the resolutions that have been passed, most recently the School Climate Bill of Rights. And we have worked very closely with our partners, two of which are joining us today, school police, school operations, all at our schools, to come together and to unite about how to create these environments on our schools that are respectful to our youth, and that we're keeping them in school, not pushing them out, and that we're working with them to resolve issues and conflicts in a humane way that really respects them. And so it's powerful. We have reduced suspensions in this district by thousands of days lost to suspension, so we are extremely proud of that. And we're really working hard to implement, as we know, alternatives to suspensions. What can we do for youth on campus, and what can we do to prevent behaviors before they escalate? And then, of course, intervene with them by using such things as restorative justice practices and working with them so that they can do what we need them to do, which is be in class and get a quality education.
That's right, and that I'm glad you said that, because that's the whole point.
Right.
So we need to create the community environment, the successful school climate. All of it is geared towards helping students be successful. And I'm really proud that when Chief Zipperman said, yes, I'll take the job,
Yes.
the community was very critical of the district. And folks we needed a partner. We needed someone who was going to listen. We needed someone who was going to sit at the table. And Chief, I want to say it's been almost 3 years. Yeah. So tell us what you see in our schools.
Well, first of all, it's a pleasure to be here as always. Thank you. And you know, every time we talk about school safety and we talk about the Student Climate Bill of Rights and we talk about what a police role is on campus, I think it's important that everybody understands, particularly the parents and the community out there, that for school policing, and we all know that we have a job we have to do when someone breaks the law and we have a violent situation, we will do what we need to do. But the role of school police on campus is a very critical role where we have to continue to understand that we are part of the solution and not the problem. And so I think it's important that everybody understands. When I first came on board, there was a huge concern, particularly with some of the social justice groups, about the way in which school police and law enforcement in general would handle certain situations, minor violations of the law, issues involving truancy, daytime curfew where kids weren't out of school, they were out of school doing other things, and how we were handling that. And we realized that besides our normal role of being a campus officer, besides the collaborating that we do with administrators, the mentoring that we do with kids on campus, and the safe school plans that we continue to look at and make sure we have up to date with our operations folks, everybody needs to understand that we're part of the solution as well. For every time that we could have a teachable moment with a student that's out of school, rather than writing a truancy ticket, getting him back into school, sending him back to the campus, not writing a citation where in 3-4 weeks from now they're going to be going to a court and a judge will have to hear a case, or a probation department gets it. The mother or the father of that child has to take time off work to go to the court, and more importantly, that kid is missing additional hours in school because they're in court. Well, and we've realized that there has to be a better system in place, and so we have, as a department, have taken a stance that in almost most cases involving these daytime curfew violations, we are going to refer our kids to a diversion center or to a campus where their school is, to try and help them resolve the issues to why they're out of school in the first place. So that's one thing we're doing. The other thing is we're taking a look at other minor violations of the law and how we can handle those differently as well, some other diversion programs. And so as we continue to take a look at how we and law enforcement can help contribute to increasing attendance and thereby increasing kids staying in school, getting good grades and graduating and being able to go on in a career. So we are working with social justice groups. We've come a long way in the last 3 years, and we are part of and we are a partner in the Student Climate Bill of Rights. We're very happy to be part of that program. And we are also really engaged in this behavior intervention support and school-wide positive behavior intervention and all the issues involved in that, because we as a police department have realized that our role is really it couldn't be said better than the school climate, and how are we going to really have an effect on a positive school climate. The Bill of Rights doesn't suggest that students have this certain Bill of Rights that allows them to get away with things. It really is the student climate, and it's the climate of that school.
That's right.
And quite frankly, it's really up to us, along with everybody else, to make sure that climate is conducive to learning.
That's right. So what would our community partners talk about the work that we've done in the last, Macy, I think you've been involved in it for at least 10 years.
About 8.
8, okay.
Close, about 8.
So the Bill of Rights, what do we need to know about it?
Well, I think as Chief Zipperman said, it's a school climate Bill of Rights. And what I think it's important about noticing about school climate is that it's also supposed to be fair to everybody on campus. It's supposed to build a community out of the campus. And more importantly, as Michelle said, it's really to support everyone being able to get at the core issues of what's going on. And Cadre was very, very proud to have witnessed the ushering in of school-wide positive behavior support in 2007. And that really, as challenging as it is to implement, what it does is really kind of refashion a whole school around solutions. And it's a high bar, but we support it because it also brings community to the table in the implementation. And so I think what's also key about the School Climate Bill of Rights is that every single part of it, the part that deals with implementing PBS and scaling that up, introducing restorative practices, generating data and accessibility for parents and staff and students and families in general to have data, to reduce racial disproportionality, and to also really look at that first response in the classroom, you know, especially around core issues of willful defiance, and really seeing if we can challenge ourselves to really, really do something different and to get at the core issues. So in many ways, we're really happy to have been part of a huge coalition of community partners, as well as many parts of the district to support it. And really the beacon of hope for us is really the incredible amount of participation that we expect to be able to have in bringing it to scale all across the district. So.
Yeah, and I think we see what doesn't work, right? So we got to 52,000 days of suspension in 2011. We're down to 13,000 last year. We've seen young people arrested with no good solutions. The board has dealt with expulsions, and they're trending downwards. So 144 the previous year, and then 109 last year, but still too many, too many. Henry, tell us about the work that you and Inner City Struggle and the coalition have done to focus changing laws even.
Yes, definitely. As a social justice organization, our role is to shine a light on the problems that exist in our community. And we have a very unique perspective in that we are working with families, students, parents on a daily basis, and they're raising issues to us, and the discipline policies being one of the greatest issues that they have raised with us. And I think that for policies to be able to work and be effective, the school district needs to really listen to the stories of the youth, of the students, of the parents. That is how we're going to get the solutions correct and the solutions to work. And we are constantly bringing parents and students to the table, to the various meetings that the district is facilitating around this issue, and making sure that their stories are being heard, their testimonials are being heard, so that they can be able to participate in developing solutions that they feel will work for them. And we are working not just with LA Unified, but we're working statewide through a coalition called Boys and Men of Color. And we are working on different legislative bills statewide to resolve the issue of suspensions and expulsions at the statewide level, because it's not just a phenomenon happening here at LA Unified, but it's a phenomenon happening statewide at schools and districts throughout the state.
And would you say it's really about relationship on campus? Is that what we're talking about?
If I don't mind, Henry brought up a great point that we talk about communication aspect of it, where everybody is really involved in communicating what the issues are on campus. And in law enforcement, typically we always look at stats, and based on where the stats is, we'll put bodies. We've realized, and we've learned a lot by interacting with these groups and communicating, that you listen to some of these anecdotal stories of some of these kids, and we realize, you know what, instead of listening to the stats, let's take a look at what some of the problems are and how can we help become part of the solution, like we talked about before. But until we hear some of these stories and have an understanding of why certain behaviors are happening on campus, it now allows our officers, because they're now part of the communication process, they're really being able to take an understanding and have a personal investment in these kids on campus, and it's making all the difference in the world.
But it also is about building relationships. You asked that question. That's a key piece, because we need to listen to students and hear their stories and believe in them and understand what they're saying and where they're coming from. But we have to have a personal, I think, commitment and relationship with the youth, to the degree that they can know their teachers and know their administrators and know the officer on campus, and that the community is welcomed into the school. It's about, as you mentioned, community building, and that's really where you have to start, is restoring or building a community on campus where everyone feels that they have a part and a place, are valued and are listened to. I think that's where we begin. And you talked about the voice of kids, and that's so powerful and important. And a significant piece, I think, of the Bill of Rights that we made sure, and our partners made sure was a part of that, is that students and families have a way to say, if I don't see school-wide positive behavior support on my campus, now I have a vehicle to say and to tell someone, we don't see this on our campus. How can we ensure that we get in the district? We, the district, must respond to that within 60 days. So I think that's a significant piece. I wanted our families who are watching our show to understand that now we have a vehicle in place, and you can go to your school, you can appeal, or you can share information if something is not in place that we are saying should be there for you.
And speaking more to the role of relationships, I think we can't emphasize that enough. I think we see wonderful examples throughout the district of schools that have really reduced their suspensions by activating parent centers at their schools, right? By bringing in more parents and having them play more of a role in creating and fostering positive relationships with the students on their campus. Also, community school strategies, where schools are opening themselves up more and more to community partners who really would love to work with schools to provide social programs, services enrichment, academic support programs, and are now are able to come into the schools and co-locate and just really build upon the adult to student ratio in a positive way. You know, as recently as a few years ago, that wasn't happening. You know, I think for a very long time, a lot of our schools operated in this, what I call this fortress type of approach mentality, where it's like keeping partners, you know, parents out. But now we see a lot of changes in where they're being welcomed more and more, and I think we're seeing great results from that.
I generally start some meetings, and you know, cheerleading is kind of one of the things I like to do. But when we ask whose schools, and folks answer our schools, that I think is the shift in the district, where it's not about protecting or drawing the line where, you know, good guys, bad guys. It's if we're going to achieve, if more kids are going to get to the goal, then what do the rest of us have to do? Because that strategy of the fortress only helped us get this far, and no one was satisfied with that, right? So we have to listen. We have to listen, and we have to work together, because you all know a piece of our community that we don't. And I got to tell you, when school police stood up and said, we support the idea of eliminating willful defiance, that's a game changer, because we're not just doing the paperwork, it's the meeting of the minds around what we're trying to achieve.
And well, that's what I wanted to add in, is that I think the issue of relationships is really how most community folks would solve a lot of these disruptions, if you will. And I think having the standing now to really challenge the practice of suspending students for willful defiance and getting to the core issue, and having relationships be the support and safety net, if you will. And you know, we at Cadre, and similar, I'm sure, to Inner City Struggle, we are part of large networks across the country, and they're all hugely a bit in shock that we did it. And so now we need to make sure it's not obviously just on paper. And I think it is about looking at all the ways in which these practices are both sourced and upheld, and trying to begin to have families, students, staff, school police, administrators actually try to put the child in the middle and put the family in the middle. And I think for our families that are watching, school climate does matter. Families matter, but so does school climate. And many times we're not asking everybody to look out for the entire school. You know, we're not asking everyone to look out for every child, regardless of their race, regardless of their language, regardless of their ability. And this Bill of Rights really does give us a chance to really fight for equity on so many fronts, and with everybody involved. And so people are watching us, and it's really both good pressure. It's good pressure and it's exciting.
Yeah.
So.
Chief, can you tell us a little bit, what has the first 90 days look like?
As far as
The rules change.
Well, what we're looking at here is, for instance, right now, we have a policy we're putting in place that we're no longer going to be citing young people that are 12 and younger on minor violations of the law, citable offenses that normally would have gone to informal juvenile traffic court, or even some minor offenses that may have gone to a pre-delinquency court. We're looking at, again, the teachable moments, particularly for our students that are 12 and under, because certainly the citation or the set of handcuffs is not going to, number one, it leaves a wrong impression on the student, but number two, it's not going to resolve the problem. And there are so many other ways to resolve it. So we're looking at that particular part of Student Climate Bill of Rights, something that we'll feel very positive about, and it really tags along with the truancy diversion program that we have, where we actually have reduced truancy citations by almost 80% since we've implemented it.
Wow.
That's 80% of kids that were normally getting cited to court. They're now able to, we resolve these issues through diversion, through a program that helps them resolve the issue. And as we take a look at 90 days and even beyond, we're looking at addressing some of the other minor violations of the law. But more importantly, when we take a look at the Student Climate Bill of Rights and what our responsibility as a law enforcement agency, for instance, the willful defiance. Law enforcement on school campus, we can be there and have a positive effect, and again, part of the solution. And we have so many officers on our campuses that love being involved in the teachable moments. And so, although it may be a willful defiance, we don't get involved in discipline, but I can tell you just from many of our officers on campus and some of the stories that we've already heard, the ability to have them sort of interact when that moment is there, and that willful defiance moment is there, when an officer can actually interject and have that teachable moment as well, and we know we've made a difference, that's where our involvement really comes in. So we see a lot of positive things happening with the Student Climate Bill of Rights. And let's face it, as we get more into the Student Climate Bill of Rights, that in and of itself is going to create a safer campus. Parents that are involved, like you talked about, our officers are involved, all of our stakeholders are involved, then it allows us to have a role on campus that is more of sustaining a safe campus than having to react to things on campus.
Well, this has been such an enriching conversation, but we are actually out of time. And I would just like to thank you for joining us on Families Matter. Please visit our family website at families.lausd.net and parentaccess.lausd.net. Your involvement makes all the difference. See you next month, and remember, families matter.